This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is brought to you by you. That's right, if you'd like us to promote your content or your store, let us know by going to theprettyneatpodcast.com and clicking the mailbag. Your facial hair is fantastic.
Yeah. So I did oh, look at that. Oh, you're growing the Delzite.
I'm definitely rocking the Delzite. Hell yeah.
You're rocking a
Rocking the Delzite.
a early
Just
2000s Dep.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a wild hair up my ass, as they say. But I wanted to change it up. This was what I landed on, not even occurring to me that it was the Delzite I was rocking, which would be a great cover of Rockin' the Suburbs, like by Ben Folds. You could do Rockin' the Delzite, just like Quiet Riot did. No? Okay.
So like full transparency, right? You're talking about a Ben Folds 5 song.
Yes.
I probably don't know it unless I heard it, and even then, like I'm like, I don't know. Does Ben Folds rock
The Suburbs, apparently.
the Suburbs? Okay.
Yes.
He's a gentleman who plays the piano, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're thinking about the same guy.
Yeah.
Ben Folds 5.
He's one of the Bens.
Rockin' the Suburbs. Ben
Yes.
Folds. So
Yes.
is the Ben Folds 5 a quintet?
Yes, that is his band.
Okay. And then he's Ben Folds. It's the Ben Folds 5.
Yes. And then there's Ben Harper. Is that one of them?
Ben Harper?
Or no, like who's Ben from Postal Service?
That's the guy from Death Cab for Cutie, right?
Yeah, he's also a Ben. And then
And
there's
wasn't he was
there's-
married to what's her bucket
I don't know.
from She's All That, Zoe Deschanel.
Amanda Bynes.
Amanda Bynes. You're almost there.
Dang, I
Almost
haven't heard.
there.
That's
Zoe Deschanel is not in She's All That.
She's not.
We're talking about all that, not
What did
she's all that.
You said She's
Did I
All
say
That.
She's All That?
Zoe Deschanel was also not on All That.
Good God.
Really?
What
That's
I
a-
meant to say,
That's Amanda Bynes.
yeah, Amanda Bynes, who I think she's gone insane.
Something like that. Yeah. This is what we ended up talking about while you were gone, Dom. We were talking about Ben Folds because I'm rocking the Delzite,
Yeah.
the Delzite facial hair, as you
Not
can see.
not the Suburbs.
Yes,
Correct.
exactly. Not
See,
the suburbs.
Dang, he got it.
He
Look
got
at
it.
that.
Yeah. That's a deep
Mhm.
cut.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
other Ben that we were searching for, that's Ben Gibbard.
Ben Gibbard.
Ben Gibbard of the Postal Service, also Death Cab for Cutie.
And
Don't
then
ever
there-
talk about the Postal Service on this show again.
Okay, done. There's another Ben. There's another Ben, isn't there? Because they formed a band once called The Bens, and they released an album.
The Ben's supergroup. Good
Yes.
God, man. Ben Queller, Ben Lee, Ben Folds. Ben
Okay.
Gibbard's not even in this band.
Yeah. What band is Ben Gibbard in again?
Death Cab for Cutie.
Nice. I threw that pitch to you and you fucking hit a home run for Dom.
The
Didn't say Postal Service.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
Look up Tom Cruise's real name. I don't remember what it is, but I know it's funny.
It's like Robert Zimmerman.
Isn't it? It's like Thomas.
If one of you gets that, come on.
McWilliams or something.
Come on. Thomas Cruise Mapother the Fourth.
Whoa. Mapother.
No way.
So he's going two first names. Tom
I'm down.
Cruise. Cruise is his middle name? No.
Weird. Huh. Well, then again, you think of like all of Donald Cerrone's kids.
But like
Isn't it like
extreme.
it's like Danger Zone Cerrone?
I've seen the extreme.
Yeah, some shit like that.
You know what's
Anyway,
also fun? Just putting in Tom Cruise in a Google search. Wow.
Are we gonna
Who-
extrapolate on that? Or-
who has had more of a life than Tom Cruise?
Thomas Cruise Mapother the Fourth, as we
Yeah.
shall henceforth.
He's right up there.
No. Tom Cruise, real height, real stunts, real last name, real teeth, height,
Yeah.
Reddit, really a pilot, real age, real estate investor, real life.
His two front teeth are like an inch to the left, and it has thrown me off since I was a kid.
What?
Once you notice that his two front teeth are not centered
Yeah,
at all, you
His
can't
face is
unsee it.
asymmetrical.
Yeah, and his teeth specifically are
Oh
like
my
a full inch
God.
to the side.
His
I-
right his right side
Uh-huh.
front tooth is in the middle.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
I can't unsee that. But then again, if you've seen The Outsiders
For
from
Johnny.
yes, that one of his earliest acting roles, it was before he had the teeth fixed, and his teeth are all fucked up in that. Yeah,
Isn't that Pony Boy?
Yeah.
yeah, he didn't play Pony Boy.
I
though.
went to 8th grade. I know he didn't.
I almost know. Wow, I almost pulled Pony Boy's name out of my hat. Oh, Thomas Carroll. Yeah, I know the guy who played Pony Boy.
So
But
so
damn.
neither of you know the best name of a lead singer in a band.
It's a lead singer.
Yeah.
Claudio Sanchez.
No.
That's a good name.
He is the lead singer. He went to Harvard. Did not know that.
Eric
Harvard.
Clapton.
That's a pretty good name too.
Jimmy Buffett.
No.
Jimmy Buffett. Rivers Cuomo.
Rivers Cuomo is the answer, you son of a bitch.
Where did this come from? Who the hell is that?
Rivers
the lead singer
Cuomo
from
is the
Weezer.
lead singer, guitar player from Weezer.
Okay.
There is no better name for a lead singer of a band like Weezer than Rivers Cuomo.
All hail Rivers Cuomo.
All hail Rivers Cuomo.
I must say that the Weezer cover of Africa, Toto's Africa,
Oh, it's life-changing.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we get things kicked started. It's been a while.
If
Yeah.
you were wondering what we were doing on the Pretty Neat Podcast summer vacation, it was shit like that.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
we're just talking about Rivers Cuomo. And Weezer's cover of Africa, quite good. Did you know that Toto also covered Hash Pipe by Weezer? Not as good.
I
They
did not
did
know
it
that.
like as a gesture, like, oh, thank you for covering our song. We're now going to cover one of your songs, and it's not as good.
The music video for the original version of Africa by Toto
Uh-huh.
is, and I'm not understating this, one of the 8 or 9 most bizarre things I've ever seen in my life.
Nice.
So I saw Toto perform with the band Yes,
Whoa.
if you know them, at the Door Theater.
No free shout outs, but okay.
Theater.
Don't worry,
Sponsor
I'll
for
throw
any
a censor
podcast.
in there. It's one more for good measure.
Yeah. So Africa, obviously, this is what I associate with Toto, but you know, things that you don't think about until they play them, and you're like, "That's them." Rosanna,
Yeah.
Rosanna,
Absolutely.
or Hold the Line. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, is
That's
that
them
Toto
too.
also?
Yeah, 1978.
Wild.
Africa,
fun.
1982. Same album, Toto 4 was Rosanna.
Did you know that Weezer has an album called Van Weezer where they cover Van Halen?
I did know that, and I'm into it.
I am too.
This is a totally separate band, but have you ever listened to Austrian Death Machine, Dom?
No. Yeah, and you know what, Aaron? We've
Yeah.
known each other for like 15 years. You know I've never listened to them.
So it's
So
the
don't
guitar
ask
player.
me anymore if I've listened to Austrian Death Machine.
It's the guitar player from As I Lay Dying, and he recorded this side project called Austrian Death Machine, where he is impersonating Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all of the songs are just iconic lines that he would say. Like there's a song called "Get to the Choppa."
Can
Yeah.
I go to that as like a rock opera?
If you can't, you should be able to.
Yeah, intrigued. I don't think you can, but you should.
Yeah, and
So-
any sponsors out there interested in supporting us doing an off-Broadway Austrian Death Machine,
off Broadway.
They
yeah, like
have
way
they
off.
have songs such as "Get to the Choppa," CHOPPA.
Yeah,
It's not a tumor.
that's my favorite. No, who is your
Double
daddy and
eyes.
what does he do? That's a good one.
Come with me if you want to live. Who's your daddy and what does he do? On the Total Brutal album released in 2008.
Yeah, he went to jail. So
Wait. Was it the singer or the guitar player? The singer went to jail for attempted murder of his wife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
okay.
he doesn't. He
Man.
sounds like someone who is unwell. I'm gonna be honest.
you're not wrong. But we're well on the Pretty Neat podcast. which
Yeah,
is what
welcome
you're
back,
listening
guys.
to. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Short hiatus.
Yeah, summer break. Shit was going on. We were busy. You were
Well,
busy. You know.
Let's talk about what was going on because it was mostly my fault. I had a baby. Well, I didn't have a baby. My wife did. But also, I spent 3 weeks about as sick as I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, you still sound a little
Yeah.
what do they say, froggy?
Yep. So tomorrow will be 4 consecutive weeks of not being 100%.
Jesus.
Ugh.
And you're no longer I don't know, you're no longer quarantining,
No.
isolating, right?
Yeah. So
Contagious.
4th of July night, we were like walking around our neighborhood looking at people lighting off illegal fireworks. And we got home and I started feeling kind of like shaky and almost like when you have like the chills or a fever.
Yeah.
Went to bed, woke up the next morning, sent you guys that screenshot. I felt like I got hit by a fucking truck. So
And
the
which I
wife-
was like, is that a whoop strap?
yeah, right. Like I love how that's your response. Really, what I should have done was sent you what a normal day looks like for comparison.
Yeah.
Or like even a good day. And so wife is due the next day.
Ugh.
I'm out for 2 days. Mother-in-law gets into town, thank goodness. Friday I start to feel a little better. Saturday I'm feeling pretty good. She goes into labor. That's a whole other thing for a different time. But I'm feeling okay. We get him home on Monday. Tuesday we have to take him for an appointment with a different doctor because he was not born. We took him to she had him at a hospital outside of our network for insurance. So we had to take him to get him checked out by one of their pediatricians. And I'm sitting in the waiting room, like coughing and like I feel miserable. We get home. I fall asleep for like 5 hours, which is not like me. I go to urgent care and they're like, yeah, well, you have 101.8 fever and we don't really know what's wrong with you. And I'm like, that's awesome because there's a 4-day-old baby at home. And he goes, well, you're going to have to try to stay away from him. And I was like,
Ugh.
okay, so luckily my grandma lives down the street, so I was able to go stay with her, but it sucked. Thank goodness my mother-in-law was still here. And then they said 24 hours fever free. I waited 48. And then it's kind of been a little up and down. I think my voice is just a little rough today because I've been back at work for a week in my new job. And honestly, like I have my thesis defense coming up this week. I was working on my thesis when I got super sick. Like I think it's as much stress as it is
Yeah.
just
Yeah, I
I think it's like a virus that stress is like, oh cool, I'll help you.
You want to break down that immune system a little bit more? We got you.
So but I think I'm over the hump. So
Good.
what have you guys been doing?
Well, Aaron, you went to another state.
Oh yeah.
We went to Hawaii.
I didn't realize you went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lukalakahiki. Come on, you want to lay me? Pass
yeah.
the boy, mahalo.
Yeah. And of course, now that I've been there, I have to no longer refer to it as Hawaii. I have to refer to it as Hawaii.
Oh yeah, there's an apostrophe in there.
There
somewhere.
is, and it's definitely an essential part of the language.
It's in between one of the last 4 I's in that word.
Yep, yeah, that's exactly right. I couldn't even tell you the name of the place we stayed. I think it was Kihei.
Oh, Kihei, that's on the west coast of
West
Maui.
coast of Maui. That is
Okay.
exactly it. Have either of you been?
Yeah.
I have been to Hawaii once, and it was to the island of Maui, and that is exactly where we stayed.
Awesome. So that is where we stayed. And that means you understand everything I'm about to explain, which
Chickens?
is that there are
Roosters?
chickens everywhere.
Mhm.
That's definitely part of it. It is awesome. You're gonna have to find the address of where you stayed. It'd be so funny if we stayed in the same complex or something.
So
But-
let me ask you this.
Okay.
I can probably find it fairly quickly, but did you stay at a condominium complex
Yes.
and rent out like a 1 or 2 bedroom place?
It was a 1 bedroom, but it had a loft upstairs that doubled as a second because it had a bathroom.
I don't think it's the exact same place, but damn close, because we stayed close enough that we were there, and at the time Ashley was working for Stone, and it was part of Stone has a great anniversary program. So when you have work
Mhm.
anniversaries, they'll pay for trips when you reach a certain milestone.
That's cool.
So paid for a trip because we went to the Maui Brewing Company, which is in Kihei as well, and did a
That makes
tour of
sense.
that, and we got to go behind the scenes and look how they made their toasted coconut porter, where they're literally toasting mountains of coconut by hand.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So you
That's really
stayed.
cool.
Were you right on the coast?
Yep. We could walk across, and if you walked directly across the street, there was a small marina area, and not docked boats. I should say it's a launch place,
Okay.
and a beach.
Hell yeah.
With one lifeguard tower, we were probably within blocks. But Maui is a magical environment. It is a fantasy come to life. The water is beautiful and clear and gives you that green tint to it, that blue-green. We went out to the crater, which was amazing. The little island out in the middle of out there, that's a big crater if you didn't know. There's a...
Are you talking about Kahu Alawai?
Yep. Yeah, so that is an impact crater. So you
Interesting.
can, her parents, who paid for the whole trip, got snorkeling. So we got to snorkel in that crater, which is its own unique ecosystem, completely protected. $10,000 fine if you touch anything.
Jesus.
Specifically the turtles.
Specifically the turtles, which was very great because as he was giving the speech about don't harass the turtles, the very pleasant young man on our boat who had autism, and noted so for the group that he had some communication issues, immediately asked the lifeguard, "What if the turtle's harassing me?"
Fair question.
Here's the thing.
He's not wrong.
You find the flaw in his logic.
yeah. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, the best part was renting electric bikes. We rented e-bikes, and for like 4 hours when we went up to the other side of the island. But damn, I want to go to Hawaii, the big island, for the tourism stuff as it's been described. I've heard great golf things too. Maui though has the good golf, and then Oahu is like the nightlife, and Pearl Harbor, and then that other island that people talk about.
Kauai.
So
Yeah.
Kauai, yeah. I've been to Oahu. We were there for like 8 days. Here's an island I'm on. I really don't think Hawaii is that great. And we had fun. If I never go back in my life, that's cool. We did go to Pearl Harbor, and you know what I loved about it? They were kind of like, we know what this looks like. You're like, well, what do you mean? They're like, well, we know that a lot of the stuff that happened really makes it look like an inside job. You're like, oh yeah? And they're like, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we know.
And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, they saw the planes on the radar, and the guy manning the radar went to the captain, and the captain said, oh, it's probably just those planes from California. But California is the other direction, and that's not how the Navy works. It's not probably just, they're definitely on a schedule. And all of our defense planes were parked under some trees and disarmed. So, like, oh, all right.
Bum bum.
Well, when you put it that way.
They kind of just say, like, I'm all for it. Anyway, Hawaii in general, no thanks. Although I did have top 3 pizzas in my life from a guy who had a pizza oven in a parking lot.
Dude, that's the thing. So I had a similar experience in Maui for some side of the road chicken from a chicken cart.
I believe
and it
that.
was some of the best rotisserie chicken I've ever had in my life. And I ate it on the beach where I was then accosted by sea turtles.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, we had to do the one thing that I made me think of Ryan immediately and get Hawaiian barbecue in Hawaii, and damn straight some of the best
and they
chicken.
just call it barbecue.
Yeah, yeah. Although we did go to a barbecue place and discovered it was Texas themed. So I ate Texas themed.
That
like we're eating Hawaiian Texas barbecue.
That annoys me.
But it was delicious anyway. Some of the best hot links, and I'm not a hot link guy. But they were good. They were so good. What about you, Ryan?
Well, lots of work stuff. Just got back from a trip up in the Bay Area. Spent a week up there. Got back on Friday. So not really a whole lot to report on that, work stuff, but more of that to come. Looks like I might be making a trip to the land of 10,000 lakes here in the near future.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And, we'll see how that goes.
You're gonna come to Dallas?
The Twin Cities are treating me. Maybe Dallas here up in September. We'll see how that goes. Otherwise,
they're going to be a car in Dallas.
Barbie.
How was it?
Enjoyable. Fun.
Okay. Have you seen Haunted Mansion yet?
No, but I got a report that it was fun as well.
Yeah, it's getting good reviews.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Somebody that I work with and I'm pretty friendly with, we're talking about the weekend stuff, usual jargon banter, like pass the time. Hey, how was your weekend? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, wife and I went and saw Oppenheimer and Haunted Mansion. I was like, oh, quite the dichotomy. Tell me, 1 to 10, what did you rate it? He said Oppenheimer 7.5.
Okay, I like that.
He's like 7.5. It wasn't really about the making of the bomb, but more of his life. And he's like, I fell asleep in the movie. A lot of dialogue, just sitting there. Got really comfortable. Said okay. And then he said Haunted Mansion solid 8, fun. Would watch it again.
Nice.
So he rated it higher than Oppenheimer, which is, from some critics, which obviously those are skewed to a certain extent, cinematic Marvel. But Barbie, good times.
Have you
good
watched
times. A lot of participation in the theme as well. Lots of pink everywhere.
Sick Corvette that she drives.
Have you seen the Muppet Haunted Mansion?
No, and I have also not seen the Eddie Murphy one.
Okay, the Eddie Murphy one you could pass for sure, but the Muppet Haunted Mansion is fantastic. If you are a Muppet fan, yes.
Yes.
I want to be a Muppets fan, and I'm kind of not, if that makes sense.
They are they've become overly reliant on being meta. Like they really break all the walls down, and it kind of gets annoying after a while. Like I kind of want to have the ride and go on an adventure and not have the producers tell me their aside, even if it's funny. Like but if that's kind of the mood you're in, like you just want whatever you're watching to be a joke, it's perfect. I'm excited that Halloween's just coming up because my wife starts making all the spooky shit. And
it's spooky season is officially here. It's upon us. It's almost like the Christmas aspect where early and earlier the Christmas decorations come out. Like it's not even Thanksgiving yet, and they already have Thanksgiving Christmas decorations out.
Mm-hmm.
They already have all that stuff at Home Depot and Lowe's. No
Yep.
free shout outs. Okay.
There was pumpkin spice flavored coffee at the store yesterday.
And it's like, it's not even fucking August, people.
Although the thing is, I read one time that they do harvest pumpkins in like early June or July or something. So that's why let's not talk about pumpkin spice stuff. There was something I was going to ask the two of you. Oh, let's quickly talk about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence.
Sure. Yeah. Is this the beginning of our recap from this break?
I think so. Did either of you watch it?
No.
None.
Okay.
I read some things, but that's it.
So this was the boxing fight that everybody wanted. This for boxing fans is right there with like Mayweather Pacquiao. And Terrence Crawford just beat the shit out of him for 9 rounds until the referee mercifully got in between them.
Mm-hmm.
That there is no analysis. It was so clear that Terrence Crawford is the far superior fighter. And talking with a friend of the show, Mike, Errol Spence had a weird look on his face when he got in the ring. Mike said his whole family said that he looked high. Maybe that's like the ballsiest move of all time. But
just show up to the biggest fight of your career high,
just totally baked
out of your mind. He got knocked down 3 times, maybe 4. He was definitely going down again, and then the referee got in between them. It was just it was just an absolute clinic by Terrence Crawford. He was patient. He would hit him with a couple of combos and then back up and wait, and then hit him with another combo and then back up and wait. And Errol Spence just had nothing for him. It was crazy. There's no reason to see it again. Errol Spence is simply not as good as Terrence Crawford, and it's rare in fights like this. Like I think Ryan, was it you saying you could see a draw coming?
Yeah. So like the way that it was built up, 2 undefeated fighters, it's the fight of a generation, that evenly skilled in different aspects, that there may be a situation where it could end into a draw.
Well, the thing is, we've seen that before in boxing because they want to do it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Everything what Terrence Crawford said, no, I'm not going to have any of that.
Terrence Crawford said, no, that's actually not what we're going to do.
So it is interesting. I was telling you,
and sorry, oh no, he was knocked down 3 times.
He was knocked down 3 times, and the ref intervened
in the 9th.
And I, in our text thread, I had said, well, I think Errol might win. Of course, I'm not even close to being a subject matter expert when it comes to boxing, but I was going off of physical size. He had been in that weight class for some time. He had stated previously he wasn't going to be able to make the weight cut anymore. So naturally bigger fighter. His defensive fundamentals, from everything I heard from other pundits, that he had all the fundamentals to answer Terrence Crawford's style. What I don't think we accounted for, and I read about the fight, is that Terrence never came out in his natural orthodox stance. And I should say that noting he can do either exceptionally well because of how he broke his hand when he was younger and just learned how to fight southpaw, as opposed to just not training. But he came out and fought southpaw the entire time.
Yes, he did.
And from what I understand, and I'm sure you could corroborate this, is that he just was far more effective. And they also said during the weigh-in that he looked much bigger. And then after the fact, I found out that before his training camp, he did a pre-camp where he spent a month in Vegas doing just physical conditioning. So it makes a lot of sense for him to blow the doors off of Errol Spence and that's what happened.
Yeah. So this is the second fight this year. We've seen kind of a lot of hype, and then one guy just clearly establish himself as better, and the other one, of course, being Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia.
Mhm.
And it was cool to see. I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. He's really, I can't remember ever watching him be challenged. Was it Sean Porter? Someone was going back and forth with him for a little while. I'd have to go back and look at his fight record, but it doesn't matter because Errol Spence was the guy everyone wanted to see, and it just wasn't.
They both fought. Who did you just say? Fuck.
Ryan Garcia?
No.
Sean Porter.
Yeah,
they
Sean,
both
they both fought
Mhm.
Sean Porter,
Mhm.
but one was more lopsided. I think that was the Terrence Crawford fight.
Terrence Crawford knocked him out. I don't know how Spence beat him.
It was a split decision win.
Okay.
And after the fact, his coaches said that he didn't follow the game plan, which made it a lot more competitive. And that was before he had the car accident where he had the detached retina.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you're a boxer and you have a detached retina, the prospect of, continuing in that profession where you do get punched in the face is not something that usually happens.
It's not what you want.
You have a detached retina, you have to have surgery for it. But then, what you do for a living is punch people in the face, and they attempt to punch you in the face as well. Usually leads to what could happen in the Michael Bisping situation where you lose the eye, which nobody wants, right? Because Michael Bisping pops that shit out all of the time, and it's gross. Anyway,
yeah. Well, there's Errol Spence is saying he's going to initiate his rematch or exercise his rematch rather, but I guess the caveat with that is the winner of the fight. So in this case, Crawford gets to choose the weight that it's at. So he will probably do it at 147 again, not 154, which is what Spence likes. So I don't see, the gap just seemed so wide. You fight again in December. You don't have enough days to close it.
Yeah. Speaking of boxing, totally backtracking to Maui. The coolest part of my whole trip was waiting for coffee during my layover in Vegas when I got to talk to Eric Nixick the whole time.
Yeah, that's wild. He was just in the airport.
You didn't ask him about Francis, did you?
No, not at all. I asked him how Extreme Couture was doing, that we had Roxanne on the podcast, and she's just an absolute treat. And man, you're doing great business. But big dude. And to think of Francis is ridiculous because I've seen pictures of them together and he looks pretty big next to Francis. But I could not imagine meeting Francis Ngannou in person after meeting Eric Nixick. Very pleasant guy, super nice guy.
That's good to hear. Do we want to entertain the Francis news or just move on?
Yeah, he's going to fight Tyson Fury. They're both going to make a lot of money because it's going to be in Saudi Arabia.
And
he'll get knocked out.
In how many rounds?
3. Interesting. So I'm interested on the conditioning. We've notably seen former or current MMA fighters cross over and not look good.
Yeah, against a guy who, let's be real, is nowhere near as talented as Tyson.
Yeah, we're gonna see one in a week.
Not look good. Yeah. Speaking of, we will see Nate Diaz this Saturday. Well, we won't see it because we're not going to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
We're not going to watch it, but that will happen. I don't know. I think under 3. What do you think?
Definitely, I'd be shocked if they get through 6 rounds.
This is is this going to be a professional bout? So is it going to go the full?
I believe it is.
Yeah, they have not distinguished it as an exhibition. So everyone right now is
12 3-minute rounds is something where you're on your feet the whole time and it's all arms. It's just not something Francis is used to. And frankly, like, Tyson Fury is bigger than him, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
And I just don't see people have made the comment that because they're heavyweights, he has a better chance of beating Francis than Conor did of Floyd Mayweather. The reason I disagree is because we've seen Tyson Fury take the hardest hitters shots and get up every time and then proceed to push him around the ring in 3 fights. He did that. It wasn't once. It wasn't a fluke. He did it every time. Not as much in the second fight, but certainly in the third one. And so Tyson Fury is he's just not, that's just a different type of guy. And Francis Ngannou does not have the boxing chops to get in the ring with him. It's crazy.
I mean, he has his whole original plan going to France was to be a boxer. So like, I know that he started training to box from the beginning, and MMA came into it later.
And that's fine.
That is not experience.
What age did he, right? Exactly. What age did he get to France? 28, 29?
I don't know. Then still, it's all the same. It's not experience. It's not
Tyson Fury was already beating fucking Klitschko. Like, it's just a completely different thing, man. It's just a...
Yeah.
2026 is when Francis arrived in France.
Okay.
And he, obviously notably trained with Fernand Lopez first before he moved camps to Extreme Couture.
And you know what? If he was fighting some random guy from some random gym, I'm all ears. But we're talking about one of the greatest heavyweights who's ever lived in his prime, who has not been particularly challenged since 2019 when he was on a 3-year layoff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
before he fought Wilder.
No, his first Wilder fight when it was a draw.
Oh, that's right.
An air quotes draw. Tyson Fury definitely won 7 of the 12 rounds. He actually won 9 of the 12 rounds, but whatever. Boxing math, right? So I'm not particularly interested in it. And I think the other thing we've learned is that MMA striking is different than boxing striking.
Yes,
definitely.
And Francis is not used to the volume of punches that he's going to need to get solid contact with the way Tyson Fury moves. It's just a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And he wanted no part of striking with fucking Cyril Gane.
Yeah.
So what is he gonna do? I mean,
I don't know. I would think it's him like just bull rushing up at first, and then Tyson's gonna
you go ahead and do that. You let me know how that goes for you.
Use his distance to just counter him.
Yeah, that'd be so dangerous.
But yeah, it's something I don't think we fully take into account. 4-ounce gloves versus 16-ounce gloves, and just how much that's going to weigh on him, and the 3-minute aspect of it, not being able to do anything other than throw punches, footwork.
Well, then if you don't move, he's got to move. If he doesn't,
yes,
he's need I remind everyone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he'll lose and then he'll go back to PFL and he'll knock out Derek Lewis because Derek Lewis is now a free agent. And he'll go to PFL to get the rematch and they'll have a real fight. And by real fight, Francis will bulldoze Derek Lewis in under
I just
a minute.
don't understand. Like, the PFL would have to buy Bellator and Ryzen, or maybe Ryzen buys one and they do some like cross promotions between the two of them to even sniff competing with what the UFC has right now. Yes, Francis is top tier talent. I think we could make an argument for him being the best heavyweight mixed martial artist. We don't know what we could make an argument.
What?
Yes. Against John Jones, we could make that argument.
What?
Yes.
What argument is this?
That he hypothetically, there is an argument to be made that he would beat John Jones.
No,
in an
I don't
MMA
think
fight.
so.
No,
I don't think so.
Not at all.
I think John Jones's wrestling is way too good.
John Jones submitted Cyril Gane inside of 9 seconds or whatever. What are
Cyril Gane laid down.
Okay.
Cyril Gane is now fighting Sergey.
Well, John kicked him in the balls. John kicked him in the balls.
Okay, if the name you said was literally any heavyweight not named John Jones, I'm on your side. You're talking about the greatest who's ever done it. It's just different, man.
But I mean, Francis is they couldn't make Francis fight anyone to get anywhere near like a UFC viewership. Like
No,
there's
like,
not a chance. They would have to cross promote.
who's paying for that PFL pay-per-view?
The Rock and Kevin Hart and
I'm not going
other
to do
investors.
it. I wouldn't pay for it.
I'm not going
Just
to either.
telling you,
And we're
not gonna do it.
PFL fans on this show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch it. We talk about Kayla. We're Kayla Harrison diehards over
Yep.
here.
Dude, and they're fucking fumbling the Kayla situation.
Yeah, they are.
They don't have her on
are.
this season. They're just holding her out until they do the pay-per-view season. Why?
She's not complaining. She's made all the money. You got to figure out how to rebound from a loss. Like there's a lot that goes into it, but no, I'm with you. They are mishandling it, and they had a thing going for a while too, and it kind of seems like they've lost a step or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So the marketing has fallen off. They're doing these quasi like contender series, like prelim type up and coming. It's a knockoff. It's not as good. They don't have as much competition. It's almost like they're already a minor league organization comparative to the UFC. And then they're doing their prospects and expecting us to watch it. And I just don't want to. Like, I get excited to watch the contender series. That's fun because those people with a win, they're in the UFC. And now we've seen people become
Jamal Hill.
He was a UFC champion.
And never will be again.
Bo Nickel's going to be.
Yeah.
Bo, tickle my pickle nickel.
Yeah.
Who just called him out?
Well, him and Kamzat have been having a lot of words.
No. It was Paul Craig.
Yeah,
Paul Craig asked for Bo Nickel at middleweight.
Okay.
Well, that's tough. That's
okay, Paul.
Paul looked really, really good at middleweight.
We like Paul Craig on this show.
We do.
We love Paul Craig.
Just avoid the Bo Nickel thing entirely if you're Paul Craig.
Just that is a shotgun punch away from death. Like I see Johnny Walker part 2.
I don't even think that Bo would wrestle him. He would just knock him out on the feet.
Yep. Yeah, he'd say stand up if he laid down. He'd avoid Aminari rolls, and if Paul Craig got on his leg, I think it would be Johnny Walker part 2.
So we didn't get to talk about it, but at 290 International Fight Week, Bo Nickel, Ryan, I think your words were Bo Nickel did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, as a late replacement, what do you have to do? You knock the guy on the first round.
Well, how about in the first 40 seconds?
Right, and display, because what he had done previously, contender series, UFC initial offering was
ground and pound,
club, sub, right? Always working for that sub after a ground and pound. He needed to showcase that he could do it with some flash as well, and he did.
Yep.
Looked good.
Exactly what he needed to do. Yeah, he looked good. He needs to. I think they should be fast tracking him more. Like this, the slow roll of it doesn't make sense to me.
He needs a name.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give him somebody.
Give him the Immortal.
No, the Immortal doesn't fight at middleweight, bruh.
Oh, that's right. He fights at welterweight. Plus he's like 10 ranks too low.
Who should be next for him?
There was actually a fairly reasonable call out. I'm going to bring up the rankings because I know it was somebody ranked in middleweight.
Jack Hermanson?
We said Jack Hermanson. Andre Muniz lost
to Paul Craig.
I'm thinking about Paul Craig. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking about Paul Craig. I don't know. He's not in the top 15. Why not?
I'm looking at Champ to number 15. I don't know who beats him at middleweight.
Yeah. Even Robert Whitaker, after losing to Drickus, like he'd be really fun in there. I want to see Bo.
I like Brendan Allen too, but it's almost, if you want to make a comparison, Brendan Allen and Bo Nickel, it's almost like the Izzy Robert Whitaker, like at the same time situation, where Brendan's been very competitive and showed a well-rounded game, but if you put them together, like
That'd be a good one.
I don't think he would win ever.
There's a lot. What else? What was the main on 290?
Well, your boy, the fighting pride of Mexico.
Oh, that was Moreno and Pantoja.
Well, actually, that's what I was going to ask you guys. Well, no, I was talking about Yair Rodriguez, but
Oh,
is
Oh, yeah,
Brandon
I forgot.
Moreno good?
So
Nope. Is Brandon Moreno good?
Yes.
Is he?
Yep. I think he's a gatekeeper now. I don't think he will be champ again. I really don't.
He's not even, I mean, well, I was going to say he's not even 30. He is 30.
Yeah. He got to where he got, so he's got to be good. He won a championship. He defended a championship. He's good. He stopped developing though a little bit.
Hey Ryan, is Brandon Moreno good?
I don't know. He lost to a guy who was delivering Uber Eats prior to this fight. That's a true story. Pantoja
has beat him twice now, right?
Yep.
Yes. Technically 3 times, but one was in the Ultimate Fighter, which doesn't count as an official bout.
Okay.
Rear naked choke.
Yeah.
In that one.
And a unanimous decision in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is Brandon Moreno good? I'm just asking.
I think he is good.
I'm not saying do we like him.
Yeah, we love Brandon Moreno.
We do.
Yeah, we love Brandon. Is he good?
Yes.
He's good. He's good.
Okay.
He could beat Kai Kara France again.
Is Kai Kara France good?
Yeah.
Wow.
There does need to be some more flyweight.
So
action.
yeah, that's the thing is the flyweight. We've been waiting for that cop train to get going.
Yes.
And
We have.
Fights have just fallen apart all the time for this guy.
Yep.
He's ranked number 9 right now in the flyweight division. I think he would beat the shit out of Matt Schnell, Alex Perez, Mateos Nicolau. That's an upcoming name. I think he would beat Kai Kara France. I think he would beat Brandon Royval. Amir Albazi is the other up and comer.
Amir Albazi is a
I don't even know why they have Figueiredo here. He's definitely moving to 135. The guy's not going to make 125 anymore.
135 for Davison Figueiredo is a disaster.
It's a bad move, but I just don't think he can make 125 anymore.
Well, then maybe he shouldn't fight in the UFC anymore, because who is he going to beat at bantamweight?
So Chris Gutierrez is pretty good. Adrian Yanez probably boxes him up. He's way bigger than him as well.
I guess if you're down there, I was more looking top 5.
Oh, Marab takes him apart. Sean destroys him.
Come on.
Henry
maybe,
the fuck out of
but
him.
Henry Cejudo doesn't even really count.
Yeah.
Henry's in this weird spot that he's looking for this big fight so that he can then jump up to 145 and fight Volkanovski.
Oh, I would love to see it.
God, he wants to matter so bad, and it's so embarrassing.
You know what Alexander Volkanovski would do to Henry Cejudo?
He would destroy him. There's just nothing he has for him.
Henry Cejudo would lose enough blood he could weigh in for flyweight.
Yes, that's probably true. Let's talk about Volkanovski for a second. Aaron, he beat up your interim champ Yair.
Yes, he did.
Really bad.
Yeah. Well, we all picked Volkanovski like that. And he did. He destroyed him. It was brutal. And man, I just fucking love Alexander Volkanovski. He is the great.
He is as good as there is. That is for sure.
I love that they have returned him and he is now pound for pound. They moved Islam to number 3.
They have him and John tied and Islam 3. I'll say it.
So much disrespect for Islam.
I think Oliveira is going to beat Islam.
You do?
I do.
Sub?
I don't know about sub.
I think you could knock him out.
Could be.
Club and sub.
How does he beat him by sub? It would have to be later rounds, right?
After the 3rd or later, yeah.
Yeah, club and sub. He'd have to tap him and rock him a little bit. But that's the only way. unless a fluke knockout. But even still, a fluke with Charles Oliveira and his experience is maybe not a fluke.
There is no fluke. So let's just for those keeping score at home. 2019, he knocks out Lentz in the second round. He knocks out Gordon. What is Gordon's first name? Jared Gordon.
Jared
knocks him out in the first round. Subs Kevin Lee, knocks out, decision against Tony Ferguson. That's actually the weird one. Knocks out Chandler, though it should be noted he almost lost. Subs Poirier, subs Gaethje. Nobody subs Dustin Poirier. Subs Gaethje in the first round, third round against Poirier. Does not look particularly competitive against Makhachev. Then knocks out Beneil Dariush. We had an episode one time called "To Charles with Love" or "To Sir with Love" or whatever.
Yeah, it was "To Charles with Love."
Let's not disrespect the greatness of Charles Oliveira, who went on one of the best runs this sport has ever seen. Because
Most
at the same time,
finishes.
Kamaru Usman was doing it, and everyone was like, "Oh, Kamaru's the best fighter we've ever seen in any weight class ever," including me. So let's just have a little bit of respect for Charles. I know Islam's a beast, but I think Volkanovski maybe. I think we talked about this. This is Anton Venko saying to Tony Stark, "I didn't lose. You can make God bleed. There's sharks in the water." That's what he did.
That's incredible. I
the Iron Man 2 pull. You're right. It was.
Yeah, that was. Like, is he Anton Vanko in this analogy? I didn't.
Who is Volkanovski? I guess.
Volkanovski is Anton Vanko.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think Charles Oliveira would have a chance at Islam, and I think Alexander Volkanovski would have another chance at Islam too.
Yeah, for sure. I think he beat him.
Yeah, just really test him.
So do you do that if let's say we play this out and Oliveira redeems himself, beats Islam, does Volk get the next shot?
No, I think you've got to give Islam the rematch if he wants it.
The immediate rematch. What if it's not competitive?
Then Gaethje.
Yeah,
because Gaethje's there too.
Yeah. That's correct. Unfortunately for Volkanovski, he's not in the weight class.
Yeah.
Maybe he fights Ilya, and then if he beats Ilya, then he goes back up to 155.
Did you just say if he beats Ilya?
When?
Who is beating Alexander Volkanovski at featherweight right now?
I don't know. Ilya,
it's not anyone.
Sexy Spaniard.
Yeah, no, he's great.
I Gaethje, especially after the head kick of Dustin Poirier this past weekend.
Was that luck?
I don't think so, especially based on Kamaru Usman's reaction in the crowd, which I watched a video of him reacting and their training partners. And it was just like, and I taught him that like reaction. Like he was so excited, practically
because he was on the receiving end of it in the same building.
Same arena where Kamaru got knocked the fuck out with the same strike.
Kamaru took it worse than Poirier did.
Yeah, this is the art part of it.
Yeah, right.
Right. It's
that talk about callbacks. Fuck, give me the deep cut drop right there.
Yeah, man, that is the art part of it. But yeah, just the whole Kamaru getting knocked out with the same thing, and then his partner comes out, redeems him, and in the exact same way with the same feint and everything. Like it was there. Herb Dean, good job.
You know what?
Finally,
credit where credit's due.
He fucking slid in there. Herb Dean was nearly in time to take that hammer fist for Dustin Gaethje. So good job.
Take it right across the back. So yeah, Mark Goddard pulled a Herb.
Yeah, earlier in the night.
Which one was that?
We'll bring it up pretty quick. Well, Ferguson as well. Like Ferguson went to sleep, but he did actually go to sleep.
Somebody took a completely unnecessary headshot because the ref didn't get, or hammer fist because the ref didn't get there. And I'm looking. I watched the entire card, and now I'm looking at it. It
was Kopylov, right?
Kopylov,
yeah, Kopylov, and that was a Mark Goddard fight, and he hit him. What happened was like Claudio caught himself, but he was definitely like not conscious. But he, I think that's just a reaction when
He
you put
was
your hands
very
out.
clearly unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Cop.
he paused, and then Mark didn't step in, so then he dropped the hammer fist onto his face.
Yep.
Roman is Roman, the Russian Chase Hooper Kopylov.
Yes, he is. Good call.
And they are training partners, if you didn't know.
My
now you do.
90s boy band, I've made a decision, you guys.
Yes.
That
I'm
you're just going to bet against them?
I'm
Or-
retiring it because I don't think a single one of them has ever won a fight.
Yeah. Trevin Giles really put the nail in the coffin. Well, I guess Gabriel Bonfim did.
Since I've been doing that bit. So with respect to, we never even had a name. I release you from your contract. Your solo work and your group work from here on out is your own. Yeah.
And we'll send this one out to Pee Wee Herman as well.
Okay.
So, no more R&B group.
Also, speaking of things I want no more of, Kevin Holland and Derek Lewis both. Go ahead.
Derek Lewis, I can get behind you with. Like, I'm glad he's back. He looked fantastic. Physically, he looked great. Flying knee, Christ. Cool. But again, Stick's kind of old and not really a competitor. He's a free agent. I hope he goes to PFL. I think he will make more money in PFL. If they keep him and he performs. But Kevin Holland, he looked really great, but it was more of Michael Chiesa looked bad. Like, Michael Chiesa looks checked the fuck out.
So did he retire?
I don't know, but I feel like he's just staying relevant for his commentator position. And frankly, he could just be a commentator. He'd be fucking great at it.
Yeah,
like,
he is.
Retire.
That's the thing. I think he's one foot out already.
Yeah. Take it. Him and Dean Thomas are a fucking awesome combo. And Anthony Smith, too.
Bloody Elbow article, that he's being urged to retire and avoid brain damage after his loss.
Chiesa?
Chiesa.
Okay.
Yeah, he should. That's all good. So should Tony, although it's a little late for the brain damage. Anyway.
So what do you guys make of that one? The fight
Bobby Green
not
good?
particularly competitive. Not particularly competitive before the submission. 145 significant total strikes to 62, 137 significant to 54, 95 to 38 to the head, 24 to the body, 18 to the legs, 3 minutes, 25 seconds of control time to 13 seconds. Tony did not manage a takedown.
He's trapped in his head, man.
I don't think he looked like he had any business in that cage with him.
No. He looked like Diego Sanchez towards the end, if not worse.
And he's what? He's 39 as a lightweight? Let's
go ahead and pack it up.
Yeah. The game has passed you by, my friend. You need to go ahead and shut that down.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Embedded?
No, I did not.
I did.
So he, in his press conference, he said he had a plan for 5 more fights.
What? And then he was going to be the champion or whatever.
It ended with him fighting for the title. Oh,
was that in?
Bobby Green's not even ranked.
Is that in Ryzen? What's another small promotion that could be in? Because
PFL.
Yeah, that's maybe
not even
FC.
in PFL. I don't think.
No, not even the PFL. They're the PFL. The top 5 in that weight class would eat them alive.
Same thing with one.
Do they have Aubin Mercier?
Yeah. Olivier Aubin Mercier.
Yeah, then Tony Ferguson's fucked. And I think he's even lightweight. So yeah, that's really all that is. Alex Pereira, man. I did watch this fight again. So definitely Alex 2-1. Like, there was no question to me. Jan Blachowicz posted on on Exeter or whatever it's called now, and Exeter is an appropriate name, I guess, since
Exit
that's what everyone's
X.
doing. He said something about being robbed.
Yeah, I saw that
He's
too.
he's not watching the same fight,
Yeah,
No,
what's he
he's not.
talking about?
right? So Alex
Under the
is
old rules, maybe he'd have a point where you'd be like, "Oh, I control this, percentage of it, which was 7 minutes to 6 seconds." But he those leg kicks. I
there's no
mean,
threat.
like Jan, put some pressure on your front leg and then argue with the judges because you can't do it. It does raise an interesting question for, I guess it's actually pronounced Alex Pajeda, not Alex.
Alex.
So he
Okay.
just beat Blachowicz. I think. Do we all agree that that was the correct decision?
Yeah, I 100%. That's. I don't even think it should have been a split.
Oh, okay. So I had him at 2-1. I did not have Jan winning the fight in any capacity.
Same.
No, one judge gave the fight to
Yeah,
Jan.
yeah, for sure. I disagree.
Yeah, there's
so
no controversy except that
Jan
it's a
was ranked
split.
number 3, so it's a very short ladder. Does he beat Magomed Ankalaev?
Yes,
Ugh.
I think so. Oh, Magomed's got fucking game on the taking people down. It'd be a really hard fight.
But the thing is that Magomed, when he fought Jan, that fight sucked, and
Yes,
he didn't wrestle.
That was one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen.
Yeah, that fight was terrible. So if he comes with that game plan again to Alex, he's gonna get the same type of treatment, and it
I
would
want
be
to
a win.
Alex and Yuri is like to me the only fight. Like that's the only fight now for light heavyweight gold.
And I think Alex would put more mass on, right, as he's staying into the weight class
and figuring it out. Yeah,
yeah. He's got Glover to train on the ground, so I mean that's great. But he's the kind of fighter, he just needs to have really good takedown defense, and then just put it on guys on the feet. That's all he needs to do.
So I actually felt like his takedown defense, even though he got taken down, he did not let Jan do anything down there. Giggity. He just kind of slowly. I was waiting for one of you to react to down there. Just kind of slowly worked his way back to his feet. Jan was clearly gassed, and then he punched him and kicked him a bunch of times. I'm going to skip someone here as we climb the ladder, then we're going to backtrack. Does he beat Jamal Hill?
Yes.
I think that's actually the easiest fight for him. A guy who's going to try to stand and strike with him, like
that'd be Strickland Part 2.
I was going to say paging Sean Strickland.
Yep.
Jamal Hill will meet you in the Shadow Realm in I don't know, less than 2 rounds if I had to put money on it.
Jan did attempt 2 or 3 subs officially in round 1, and the first one was a really hard try. Not saying it was going to go anywhere, but it was by the draw,
ranked on his jaw, and that fucking hurts.
Yeah, it looked like Carmouche Rousey
won,
like the very first women's fight in UFC, and like it looked awful.
100%.
Same as you said. After that, though, Alex just got up. It's just a game of getting up and then cornering.
So I think then the most intriguing fight for him is Yuri
and Magomed. Like Magomed, I'd want to see him with the ground, but like you said, with Magomed's fight with Jan, it might just be boring.
Yuri can do so much stuff.
He'll never stop attacking.
But you know what's crazy is Alex has more UFC fights now than Yuri does.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
How is that even possible?
That's why you should look at I was watching an interview with Bo Nickel talking about how his record like versus John Jones at his age is already better. Like which is interesting. Like he's had more fights.
That is an interesting thing as well. Alex has double the amount of fights Yuri does.
Does he
in the
UFC?
Yes, he has 6 UFC fights. Yuri has 3. And I would make the argument that Pajeda has fought much higher competition.
Oh yeah,
I was just looking at that.
Dominic Reyes
and old Glover Teixeira and Ozdemir versus Stylebender twice, Sean Strickland, and is that Bruno Silva? I don't
Yes,
know
it is
so much
Bruno
about that.
Silva.
Obviously, Mitchellitis was like a, hey, let's just show everyone what you are. But
Yeah,
maybe the Yuri fight's not as close as we think.
maybe not. Maybe Izzy moves up.
Okay, well,
He said he would.
yeah.
Although I
He
watched,
did. Remember?
oh, yeah, I watched Freestyle Bender, which is Izzy's brother's YouTube that he like runs, but it's all Izzy um for the most part. And they do the post-fight reaction and live reaction. And he definitely thought Alex had it, and he, gave him the snaps when he won. But hey, I like when light heavyweight's interesting. It's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I mean we already talked about Gaethje knocking out Dustin Poirier. Hey, props to both of them. They're good. I like both of them. I want to see what both of them do.
What's next for Dustin?
Hadn't
What do you
even thought
do?
about it.
So prior to this, did he lose his last fight as well? No.
No.
He beat Connor last, right?
He hadn't fought since Connor. No, he beat Michael Chandler.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then he
And lost to Oliveira. So he's fought twice since the Connor fights.
Yes.
Okay. So win, loss, win, loss.
Beneil. I don't think they've fought.
Okay.
But does he go, yeah, I want to fight Beneil? Or is he only interested in doing like big money fights now?
I think that's where he's at.
I do think it's Beneil.
Beneil?
I do. Like, unless it's whoever wins out of Rafael Viziv and Mateus Gamrot. That I would
Dude,
like to
I
see
don't think
as
he
well.
wants to fight Rafael Viziv.
Justin did, and he beat him. So he's got to if he wants to stay title relevant. So if
There's not big names in this division anymore.
What?
Charles Oliveira?
There's only big names in the top 7. It's just
Charles,
he's fought all
Dustin,
of them now.
Dustin,
Yeah.
Justin,
Armin?
Mike Chandler. Armin's a young guy. That would be almost gatekeeper status.
Yeah. No, I think Dustin should fight the winner of Rafael Viziv and Mateus Gamrot to see where they go, not really much where he goes.
I think Chandler has to line up with Dariush. I think that's where Beneil is. I don't think he fights Dustin.
We're all thinking nobody's fighting McGregor anytime soon.
He'd have to be in the pool. He couldn't fight till February.
No,
anyway.
they're saying they'll make an exception. And like 2 weeks ago, the talk was it's going to happen before the end of the year.
That's
Chandler?
what I heard as well.
Yeah. Chandler McGregor. So
Chandler had put something out on his Twitter, I think, some like weird comment about getting a Christmas gift early, something like that.
Yeah. And Gaethje said, of course, when Connor called Gaethje out after Gaethje won,
Justin, I'll slap you around.
Yeah, Justin was like, you losers don't usually challenge people. You have to come off a win to make a challenge.
Well, that's honestly, that's my issue with the Derek Lewis stuff. I was so off put by that, I can't even tell you. And normally, like, that
what did he
type of
do?
bravado doesn't bother me, or like showmanship, but he has looked bad 3 fights in a row, like completely non-competitive against contemporaries of his, like guys that are at least he was in their league, and then they demonstrated that he was not. And that's not even 3 fights. So he lost to Cyril Gahn. He beat Chris Daukaus. I really don't remember that, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Then he loses to Sergey and other Sergey. And then he beats Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who I guarantee you no one has heard of. And he's like bouncing around and taking his pants off. And I am not a prude by any stretch of the imagination. But what he said was like, I was like, whoa, dude. You guys know what I'm talking about? Did you catch it?
No, what did he say?
I'm not going to repeat it.
Okay.
And there's like 4 words I won't say. I'm not going to repeat it. It was so like, bro, calm the fuck down. You just be like a non-starter who's not going to be in the UFC by Thursday. Don't do all this shit. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, Algerio's been around.
Just be like, hey, I was in better shape. I committed to a different style of training. I tried the flying knee. It worked. Like, don't do all this other shit. I don't need that. It was just off-putting to me. You didn't just win the heavyweight title. You didn't just win your 20th fight in a row or some weird shit. I don't need that. We've seen guys win the belt. We've seen guys win the belt and not act like that. So I don't
He's
like it.
pandering to what he's known for. That's the first. He took his pants off, like 6 years ago? And Joe Rogan said why, and he said my balls were hot, and it's been his entire claim to fame ever since.
Did you guys listen to him on Joe Rogan's podcast?
No.
I would never listen to that. That'd be so boring.
It was the most boring. There was nothing more boring.
He's not a conversationalist.
No.
He's quippy when he has to be, but he hates being on camera.
Yeah, I don't think he's that quippy. I am done with the Derek Lewis experience.
Ooh. May it go the way of the band that we don't mention on this podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, although he never reached such great heights.
Hey, don't do that. Don't quote the song.
You're welcome.
Don't do that. Where's the thing? You'll still get that, but that's all I'm gonna give you for that.
Okay.
I was gonna try and work Clark Gable in there somewhere, but I couldn't get it.
I don't know who that is.
It's another name of one of their songs. Anyway, we'll stop talking about them. There are some fights this weekend. Should we talk about them?
Yeah.
Why not?
And now it's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast picks.
There's exactly one fight on this upcoming card, Sandhagen versus Font, that I'm looking forward to.
Whoa. There's 2 fights.
Hang on. I want to try to guess what it is.
Okay, I have to correct myself because Ryan told me that I have 2 fights that I'm looking forward to on this card.
I'm assuming one of them is not Sandhagen and Font, or is it?
It is not.
Okay, so then it's got to be Tatiana Suarez.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep.
Okay.
And Jessica Andrade is I'm amped for that.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned about Jessica taking all these fights and not really being the most competitive. And there's a lot of chatter of late with UFC fighters and the things that they're doing so that they can pay for camp. And I'm wondering if her willingness to take all of these fights, whether they're short notice or not, and just put herself in the line of, this upcoming competition is a byproduct of that. Because as we all know, previously we talked about how she created an OnlyFans account. And then after the fact, I read something that she did that so that she could pay for an upcoming training camp, which is wild. Because, you think of OnlyFans, I'm just going to say it, the first name you think of is not Jessica Andrade.
No.
It's Paige Van Zandt.
Exactly.
Who has her own.
So it's a concern for me, right? Is she just doing this to grab checks? Yes, that's part of the motivation, but also people that choose to do this as a profession are ultimately chasing an in-game type of result, whether that's a championship or some type of achievement, not monumental, but some type of end achievement, fighting for a belt, fighting specific fighters, trying to have some type of tangible accomplishments within the UFC. Fighting in the UFC is, generally speaking, one of those achievements that people are looking for when they choose to fight mixed martial arts for a career. But she's just been taking every single opportunity to fight someone. And of course, she's fighting fantastic people.
Yeah, she beat
But
Limosh.
the Lemos one was great. That was the one where she had the standing choke,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I mean, that was just
The
pure
first.
gorilla strength. And then she beat Lauren Murphy because most people do. But and then Erin Blanchfield is fantastic. And then Yan Xiaonan,
knocked her
that was
out.
knocked her the fuck out, which that's
like
concerning
2 weeks
for me.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, that's concerning for me. Like that repetition. And now she's
Mhm.
coming back to fight Tatiana. Now, Tatiana, physical specimen, she's not exactly known for just ruthless knockout power. She's more of a take you down, control you, ground and pound. But she's been working on her game for some time since she's been out recovering from injuries. So who knows what she's going to be able to display. Clearly, in her last fight, which was her first fight back, fighting up at 125, she didn't have the same physical dominance as she did when she was fighting at strawweight. So going back down to 115, I think she just mauls Jessica.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And Jessica's got to get the knees ready because she's got a Ben Askren like this shit. Because Tatiana's gonna rip her to the floor and beat the shit out of her. Like that's all it's gonna be. Ground and pound all day.
Ground and pound.
Like she did to Carla Esparza.
Yeah. Destroyed her.
That's
Cookie Monster.
You
figure so Andrade is ranked 5. Then you figure Tatiana is like 1 fight away from challenging for the belt.
At strawweight?
Yeah.
So it's weird because with Rose saying that she's going to go up to 125, that opens it up. Yeah, you might be right. Who else is she going to then fight? Because Carla is pregnant or just had her first kid. Is Carla pregnant now or is...
I don't know. Sorry, I have to look up Kronk because
Okay, so she is pregnant. She's expecting in September. So she's not fighting probably for the remainder of the year.
Probably not.
Probably not. So she's out. Rose is going to 125. Yan Xiaonan could be the next one to fight Zhang Wei Li. Amanda Lemos, no. Jessica Andrade, number 5. Berna Jandiroba.
It's
Mackenzie
closer than
Dern.
we want it to be.
Yeah.
I'll say it. It's closer than we want it to be.
yeah,
It's a large chin.
yeah. Kronk from the Emperor's New Grooves looks like he could be Tatiana's father.
The genes are strong.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda Hibas, Michelle
Yeah.
Watterson. I mean, she should retire.
That's a war. I'm wondering what the other fight was.
Is Tatiana going to try to hold both strawweight and flyweight?
I don't know if she would beat Erin Blanchfield. Candidly.
Ooh.
Yeah, Erin is.
I'd like to see it.
That's a fight I want to see. Is the other fight Billy Q versus Damon, or is it Ignacio versus Ludovic?
Trying to remember what
those are
we
both
remember
interesting.
Ignacio from.
Ignacio Bahamundes is our
Yeah.
favorite Chilean fighter.
He's our favorite Chilean fighter. He had a beautiful roundhouse kick knockout of Roosevelt Roberts.
That's
really
right.
what put him up there.
That's right.
And Roosevelt, who lost on Tough last week. Well, we'll see around. But Ignacio is very exciting. He's a very exciting fighter to watch. Great kicks. Ludovic Klein's a good fight for him. But Billy Q and Damon Jackson.
Yeah,
that's a tasty morsel.
That face from Damon says it all, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting too that they still have his headshot with of him with hair, because I'm pretty sure he shaves his head now because he's experiencing extreme male pattern baldness.
He also
there are dozens of us. Okay.
He looks like Sean Woodson a little bit.
Also, and I retired the band, but Jeremiah Wells is fighting Carlston Harris, and they could both be in the band.
They could. The Kyler Phillips Kyler Phillips is a prospect. He's a interesting guy. But Honi Barthelos, who we all remember getting finished by Patty, if I recall correctly.
No.
Who was it that Honi got the shit beat out of him?
Umar.
Sean.
It was Umar.
Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah. But I like Kyler. Tanner
Okay.
Bulldozer Bozer is fighting, and that's always fun. Where is he at? There he is.
So Bosnia and Herzegovina. Wow. Is he the first UFC fighter from Bosnia and Herzegovina?
If he's not, he should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also looks like Derek Zoolander's like meathead cousin. What? None of the other fights
No,
are
you're
really.
so yeah. The other fight for me, I do want to see Rob Font and Corey
Okay.
Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
Even though it's a last minute replacement. I like
Who was
Rob
it
Font.
supposed to be?
Sandhagen. Oh, it was a much better bout. Was it Umar?
Yeah, I think it was the new
It was Umar.
Nurmagomedov.
Yep. That's a bummer.
And that's why it's a
bummer.
catch weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually really like Corey Sandhagen in this one. Which I mean maybe I should. He's a big favorite. He didn't get knocked out recently like Rob Font did. Nope, I'm thinking of Santiago Ponzinibbio. Never mind.
What?
I was thinking about when Holland knocked out Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Yeah,
Because Santiago
but
Ponzinibbio and Rob Font look the same to me.
I could see it.
Again, just like those other two guys.
No, yeah, I gotcha. I'm with
Like
you.
Grant Dawson and Jimmy Crute, they're the same person. I have no idea. Brendan Allen and the guy who fought last week, Matthew, Chris, who was it? The fucking, jeez, I need to know now. But yeah, who do you got? Font has a wicked jab. He could piece up Sandhagen, but Sandhagen's got great kicks. He'll use his distance too well.
He's got really good kicks. I want Font to
Jake
win.
Matthews. Brendan Allen and Jake Matthews are the same person. See,
I want, yeah.
Okay.
I want Font to win, but I just don't think he will.
Yeah. See,
I don't really care.
There you go.
And I think Sandhagen's going to win. I don't think it matters. I think this is a 3-person division.
I think you have a valid point in that regard because Sandhagen has lost to everybody of consequence in that division. So now he's in gatekeeper status.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these people that are coming up and he's beating them, but once he's fought the upper echelon, he's always come up short.
Mm-hmm.
So valid.
Yeah.
Yep.
He trains at Fight Team Elevation with Justin and Trevor Whitman. So
yeah, that could be good, especially against Umar. That's who the fight was built around. The whole card was testing the next Nurmagomedov, who is blood of Khabib.
Blood of Khabib.
Like they are cousins, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Fun stuff. And
I agree.
Then next week we have the boxing fight no one will watch.
And a UFC fight night card no one's going to watch.
Hey.
Yeah.
Except for, is there a single fight that matters on this card? Answer: no.
Are you talking about the one after this weekend, the Vicente Luque
Mhm.
Rafael dos Anjos?
Cub
Right.
Swanson.
Oh yeah, who's he retiring against?
Hiyo. Yeah, look at
Hakeem
this card.
Dawodu.
It's
This card
dog
is
shit.
trash.
Oh my gosh! Like even the Khalil
Look
Roundtree.
at fucking
Chris
JP
Daukaus.
Buys, formerly Mrs. Buys.
Velismus?
Formerly Mr. Blissmus fighting Marcus McGee, who looks like he's staring.
Oh my
He's got a
gosh.
1,000-yard stare going on.
Yeah, he looks like like what a real voodoo zombie would look like. Like if they were awoken in the Caribbean.
Man, this card is
Montserrat Ruiz. We saw her not long ago. She looked pretty good.
Juliana
Juliana
Miller had
Killer Miller.
her hype train ended in the
Oh,
last
she
one.
fought Cheyenne Blissmus. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh shit. And there JP buys, yeah. That's Mr. Velismus.
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Blissmus
Let's
to you.
next week we may have to come up with some sort of game to play or something because this card sucks and no one
Yeah,
cares
this-
about it.
Okay.
You know, I kind of
Think
hate
of a
the
game.
UFC for diluting the experience with
Just
these trash
go a
cards.
week without a fight.
Yeah, please.
That would be okay.
Skip to 292. Shit,
Yeah.
make 292 a 20 fight card.
These
Why
are
not?
all prelim fights. The main card is a prelim card.
Meanwhile-
292 is a
Vicente and
banger,
Rafael
though.
should be fighting on like a featured prelim bout.
A featured
Mhm.
early prelim bout.
Yeah. Meanwhile, 292,
I think that's a fight night not even
Championship
John
bouts.
Anik is going to go to.
yeah. Aljamain and Suga. I mean, Zhang Wei Li and Amanda Lemos, Chito Vera, Pedro Munoz, Jeff Neal and Ian Gary. That's a test for Gary. Because if
Yes.
Neal touches Gary, Gary's dead, and his career takes a big pause. And it doesn't help Jeff Neal's at all.
So it's
Uh,
interesting that this is in Boston and
the
there's
return of
nobody
Weidman.
there's nobody from Boston on this card.
Well, Paul Felder's gone. Like he's the only one.
Paul Felder's from Philly.
Oh shit, you're right. I don't even know who's from Boston.
Rob Font.
Poor guy. Yeah, there's
Actually, this card's
292.
really not great either.
No.
292. The prelims aren't exciting except for the return of Weidman and Garbrandt's, of course, fun to watch.
So it's very top heavy.
Yeah.
So
well, the two
first-
main events are just because Zhang is fighting. She's fun.
Yeah, no, I'm almost extending this out to Marlon versus Pedro Munoz, but now that I'm thinking about it, that's not going to be very competitive.
No, shouldn't be.
And then Zhang and Amanda, I think Zhang, that's a stoppage win.
Yes.
And then I am really curious to see what Sean O'Malley does to Aljamain.
So go back
curious.
up for me, Aaron.
Yeah.
Now go down a little bit. You guys know me well enough to know what catches my eye about that whole box right there.
The odds?
I can get the show at plus 215.
I don't understand why Aljamain is repping Jamaica.
He's
Like-
born in Jamaica.
Was he?
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
don't
know
Like
he was true.
Leon Edwards was born in Jamaica.
He's from like White Plains, New York.
There's an underscore between Aljamain and Sterling, which is weird.
_ Sterling.
Oh yeah, there is. Look at that.
I don't know.
I love Sean O'Malley at plus
At a
215.
plus 215.
That
Take
is
all
pretty
day.
ridiculous.
That's one of the best value bets we've seen all year.
Yeah. That actually, that's a really, wow. I wonder what,
I'm not saying
Props
he's
are.
going to win. I'm going to pick him, as I'm sure everybody knows. But plus 215.
Yeah, that's a really good value bet. Who do you like more, John Jones or Sean O'Malley?
those aren't
Zero
accurate.
gone.
Oh God.
Can I get Sean by
These-
knockout?
Yeah, none of these are up yet.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
props.
Nope, no props yet. But that's pretty wild that Aljamain is so high up there.
Plus 220 at Caesars.
Yeah.
They don't even have a main event for UFC 293 yet in Australia. That's supposed to be the Izzy card, right?
Against
Yeah.
Dricus.
Yeah. Because they already
Mhm.
have the Makhachev Oliveira 2. That's the Abu Dhabi card in October.
November is Jones,
Yeah, Madison Square Garden.
Stipe.
Yeah. And then what are they going to do for the December?
Well, I
Is
think
that
we
going
all
to be
know
the
what they're going to do. Yeah, I
McGregor
think so.
Chandler?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep,
Because
definitely.
and what day of the week is, because that's always a weird Saturday with Christmas.
That'll be
So
around your
Christmas is on a
birthday,
Monday, so it'll be the 30th.
unless they do it a
If they
week
do it
before
into the year,
Christmas, like last year.
they haven't been doing it right at the end of the year because it used to be the like New Year's Eve card.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be the last two they've done on like the 16th to 18th, right around your birthdays.
Yeah,
And
that'd
my
be fun.
anniversary. My
Yeah.
anniversary is the 30th, actually. So
Yeah. By the way, the good doctor and the missus have
yeah,
departed the great state of California.
she reached out to me.
Yep.
No,
I
I think she's here until later this week.
I think you're right. I think they pretty much moved everything already, and they drove back or flew back because now they're going to drive the car. They have one car left and probably a carload and the dog, Pixie, and they're moving to Indiana to Evansville.
Good for them.
Yeah, I'm so excited to visit them. Evansville, I have not been to Evansville in a long ass time, but it is right by my old stopping grounds in college, which the missus and I, the good doctor's missus and I bonded over. And then it's 2 hours from Nashville, it's 2 hours from Louisville, it's 2 hours from everywhere. 2 hours to Indianapolis, maybe 3 or 4. But
she actually reached out to me this morning.
Oh, great! I hope you meet up with them before they leave.
You know what? And if this gets cut, that's fine. I have to sit in on a bunch of thesis defenses on the day that I was invited, Wednesday. And then Thursday, I have to sit in on more and defend mine. So I'm going to miss her, which sucks.
Gotcha. Well, I have a feeling the opportunity will arise again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Strongly do.
And I would go to Evansville just to see her.
Yeah, it would be worth it. And if you were going to Evansville just to see her, we'll arrange something.
I'd also like to meet Jared from Subway.
What?
Sure.
Isn't there a connection with him there or no?
With Evansville?
Yeah, not with Evansville, but when IU, he lost all the weight while he was going to IU. But he lived in the same building as the Subway. Like his lazy ass just literally walked 2 flights of stairs and was at Subway and didn't cook. So,
and also,
yeah, walking around campus.
He's a pedophile.
Yes, he's in jail. He might be in jail somewhere near there.
Now, Ryan, I want to get your opinion on what is in many ways the ire of my entire existence. The LA Angels.
Ugh. So, we discussed the prospect of going all in now,
which they have done. They made another trade last night.
Yeah, I saw they got. Are you talking about the CJ Crone deal?
Yep, and Randall Grichuk. So you know what's interesting about that?
They're both Angels draft.
Yes, and in 2009, the Angels had picks 24 and 25. They took Grichuk 24. You know who they took 25th?
Mike Trout.
That would be one Michael Nelson Trout. Yeah, I know his middle name. Isn't that weird?
That is very strange.
Yeah.
That is very strange. So, pitching, a starter, a reliever.
Yep.
An outfielder, and then I think CJ plays first base.
He does.
Who else have they acquired?
Mike Moustakas and Eduardo Escobar, which were injury replacements for guys they lost.
Okay.
Lucas Giolito is the starter you mentioned. And I would imagine they wanted Candelario from the Nationals. He's a third baseman, but
he just got traded to somebody
to
else.
the Cubs. Yeah. I would imagine though they will be active tomorrow at the deadline and see if they can't improve one more step. But
I agree. They were winning. They won 4-1.
They beat the Braves today. No small feat either.
No, Braves are good.
They are the best, actually.
The best. Wow, yeah, 67-37, 35-20 at home. So they beat them at home.
So they are 3 games out of the wild card, which is very doable. And they are 4.5 back in the division, which is also pretty doable.
But didn't the Rangers just trade for Scherzer?
Yeah, but he's secretly having a bad year. His ERA is above 4. His K percentage is way down. Like he's not the Max Scherzer everyone thinks of.
So who do they potentially go after? I was reading
I don't even
some
know who else
names
is
that
out
were
there.
reading names that would be made available. So obviously they're talking about people on the Mets that are going to be made available because they're obviously going full rebuild. People on the Mariners, but interdivisional trades usually don't happen.
Definitely not
So
going to happen.
that's not going
And
to happen.
I believe Jerry DePoto still runs the Mariners, and he literally hates the Angels. It looks like the Astros might trade for Justin Verlander, who has also not pitched as well. The guy I would have, it's not going to happen because they just traded for CJ Cron. The guy I was really hoping they could figure out a way to steal is Paul Goldschmidt from the Cardinals, who are bad. But
I don't see what do they have to offer for Paul Goldschmidt.
what do you mean?
But isn't Paul Goldschmidt's a pretty excellent player?
He is, but he's like 35 or 36. Kind of, towards the end for him. He's still having a great year. But
So do they have enough to remain competitive and then
yes, I
ultimately
think so.
fade down the line?
I think they're going to, yeah. I think they're going to get Trout back the second week of August.
Okay.
And
so 2 weeks.
Yeah, I do think they have enough to figure out. I actually think they could run down Texas and get into the division race, and I think they can figure out a way to jump into one of those 3 wild card spots, assuming they get Brandon Drury and Mike Trout back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that article though, that Buster Olney article about Ohtani has completely shifted the way I was thinking about it. I thought for sure he would be in San Francisco or with the Dodgers as soon as the season ended. But the stuff about the way he has complete, they called it autonomy, which I think is dumb. Autonomy, and really how they don't ask him to do anything extra ever.
Right.
Is
just play good baseball.
Is interesting stuff to me. It's I knew that they let him, I knew he had complete autonomy over everything. I knew that was kind of part of the deal with him, but I didn't even really think about the extra stuff. So it's interesting.
It does, but are we not thinking that he would go to a club that's more historically competitive?
It's very possible.
Just have some type of negotiation where he would also be able to limit his exposure to media.
The thing is, he does media here, post game and whatnot, and he does some stuff with the Japanese media. And when you go to Angel Games, the Japanese media is fucking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of teams would allow him to not participate in anything else the way that the Angels do. I think maybe some teams would, but I don't know. They were saying Mookie Betts for the Dodgers does all kinds of extra press stuff. We know how the Yankees operate, that they're going to get their money back on their investment. And sure. I just don't think the Angels care. And that it's an interesting wrinkle, to say the least.
Yeah, it almost levels the playing field to a certain degree.
I think if they can, and I think they've shown, and I think they owe it to the fans too, but they've shown this year the willingness to at least make the moves to be as competitive as they possibly can given their circumstances, which is not something they've done for 10 years running. And as a fan, it's been really hard to watch, but they've shifted that some, and I think it's more compelling.
Yeah, so fun fact, right? It's the first year in the existence of Artie Moreno owning the Angels that he's gone above the luxury tax, which is a telling sign. But we're also dealing with a once in a lifetime generational talent, 2-way type player and the prospect of losing him, or the analytics saying you have to trade that individual, he's clearly bucking the trend. But they have to have some insight from what we read after the fact that makes it seem like this is the way for us to retain him, show
And
him that we want to be competitive.
And that maybe there's a better chance to retain him than people outside of the league, those looking from the outside looking in, give them.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff.
It's just really tenuous because you have teams that are historically really competitive, and not to say that the Rangers have been this way all the time.
No,
but they're having a great year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the people in front of them, the Red Sox are not the Red Sox of old. They basically spend a shitload of money to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
The Toronto Blue Jays have been competitive for some time, right? And
you're talking about the teams ahead of the Angels?
Yeah, in the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
So Boston, they're looking to get additional arms and or bats at the trade deadline. Houston, if Houston's going to try and acquire Justin Verlander, that says enough. New York's a half game back of LA. They're also looking to acquire people. And now we're thinking Seattle's going to sell. So then they're going to phone it in for the rest of the year. So we're talking about beating out in the second half of the year, staying ahead of the Yankees, outplaying the Red Sox and the Blue Jays to get into the wild card. And then hypothetically, if you
4.5 back of Texas,
4.5 back, how many games are left?
2 months, August and September. So 55-ish.
Yeah, so they've played 107 games.
So exactly 55 are left, which I pulled off the top of my head.
Is it 55 or 58?
162.
Oh, 62?
Yeah.
So 57.
You said they played 107?
107 games.
Yeah, so 55.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Exactly 55 games to outperform those teams by what we ideally say is a cumulative 4.5 games to take the division.
They're probably going to have to win 32 to 37 of them.
32 to 37 of the 55 remaining games
Mm-hmm.
to win the division.
And or the wild card, yeah.
Are we counting today as one of them? No, because that's part of the standings. So after today, August 1st, we're counting Angel wins, and we need to get to 37. All right. Let's do it.
I think it's possible.
We're going to bust out the rally monkey here?
No.
So
2 more with the Braves. Not easy.
Nope.
6 against Seattle and San Francisco, 3 each. Seattle, not so good. San Francisco, better. Then, and here's where it's interesting. They go to Houston and then to Texas for 3.
Tough.
They swept Texas. No, they got 3 out of 4 in Texas the last time they were there. They do not play well against Houston. But if you can keep it in that 4 to 5 game deficit, and then you go there and you manage to sweep them, then you're right there. Then they're home for Tampa. Tampa always plays them tough. Then Cincinnati, they're a good young team. Then the Mets, then the Phillies to close out August. Oakland, Baltimore, Cleveland, Seattle again, Detroit, Tampa again, Minnesota, Texas again, and Oakland again to close the year.
Okay. Well, closing against Oakland, we like that.
It's not the end of the world difficult, but it's not easy.
Yeah, to your point, I was just looking at the series. Baltimore's been playing well.
Yeah, Baltimore's good.
Tampa Bay, obviously, they were on the heater of all heaters to start the year. Texas is going to always play tough. Houston, okay, division rival.
It's things like this, like going into this, you'd love to get one more against Atlanta of these next two. Then going into that 4-game set with Seattle, you got to get 3 of those. That's just the way it is. And then ideally you get 2 at home against San Francisco. You'll get Giolito back in that series. Probably Ohtani closes it. So maybe you've got a shot there. Then a day off, actually a number of days off that help them pretty much every Thursday after this one. It's not impossible.
Need Trout to come back and actually start hitting.
Need Trout to come back and hit that. He was hitting before the bone in his wrist came apart.
Well, and that's a concern too, right? That's like the dirty thought inside your head. Trout's gotten hurt a lot.
You know what? Okay.
He's going to come back.
And here I thought we were on the same team, and now I see where we stand, and it's fine.
No, I want him to come back. I want him to hit. I want him to be like the Trout he was a couple of years ago, where he had a lot of plate discipline.
He still does.
He's just not.
He's in the top 7 of pitches seen per plate appearance. Or at least, I don't know if he still qualifies because he's been out for like a month, but he was. He was, in fact, the only guy on the roster who was in the top 50 or something.
Oh, for the team?
Because Ohtani swings at the first pitch a lot.
And hits home runs when he does. When he's not being intentionally walked.
Not exclusively, but
hit.
he does hit home runs. All right. Well, just food for thought. Aaron, baseball is a sport where they use a bat to hit a ball and try to stop each other from hitting it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Got it. I was going to say, is Ohtani 2024 how we go out today?
No.
How do we go out today?
Ryan?
Aaron?
Dominic?
2024.
Yeah, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also because it brings us together. You know what? Violence really does bring people together. Yeah.